the Utah Jazz. They played the Denver Nuggets last night, or somebody that was wearing Denver Nuggets uniforms.
Yeah.
Because most of their lineup, just like the Utah Jazz lineup, was out last night, including Nikola Jokic, that big, tall doughboy.
He's a bum.
He's the reigning NBA MVP. Anyway, the point is they rested Aaron Gordon and Nikola Jokic. The Jazz took advantage, and they did so by playing their young guys, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we took anything away from the suckage that had been the Golden State Warriors over the last 2 years and really leading up to the Steph and Clay era, I think, if you play young guys, good things happen.
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity. I think the thing with the young guys is you have to be patient. So you have to be willing to say, okay, we're not as focused on the result of the game, but we are focused on plus minus. We are focused on turnovers. We are focused on, the areas of your game that we need to improve depending on the player we're discussing. So, when I was watching this game last night, I see guys like Jared Butler. I see guys like Elijah Hughes contributing. I see guys like Trent Forrest having a career night. The guys that don't get a lot of minutes when the normal regular players are healthy play their ass off last night. And I think, number one, I think it was a nice win for the team, good quality win for young guys. But number two, I think there's real credence to this idea of, hey, let's just take a chill pill. Let's play the young guys the rest of the year. Let's develop the hell out of these guys, and let's come back next season ready to rock and roll. I think that there is real credence to that conversation, and not to say that you want to just tank the rest of the year, but I think that with what we know about the Donovan Mitchell situation currently, which is he's still suffering from concussion-like symptoms. He saw a concussion specialist. Like, he's trying to work through all this stuff. And what we know about Rudy Gobert's calf, we know these guys are not near 100% right now, and we don't really know when they're going to come back. We're not sure yet. I would imagine Rudy will be sooner rather than later. Don is a little bit different of a situation. I still feel like that's up in the air. So being that that's the case, I just find myself wondering, why wouldn't the Jazz play these guys? Why wouldn't you get Elijah Hughes more shots out of the corner from three? Why wouldn't you get Jared Butler more time running point and running the offense, right? Or why wouldn't you get Trent Forrest more time running the offense and taking shots and working on his game? Because all that's going to do is help you for next season. And I think that is a really smart and pragmatic conversation to have if you're this Utah Jazz team. Because
I'm sorry, did you say pragmatic?
Yes. Right.
Yeah, I would agree with you. My question is, what do you have to lose by playing the young guys? I mean,
Nothing.
if you play Jared Butler more, if you're playing Eric Paschall more, if you're playing Trent Forrest more, I mean, all you're going to get is development. Now, again, I will say, I don't think Udoka Azubuike is a starting center. I don't even know that he's an NBA player in a regular rotation. But we need to find that out. I don't know that Trent Forrest can be anything more than a 7, 8, 9 guy off your bench. We need to find that out, right? Until he shows he can shoot. But what I know is Elijah Hughes can shoot the three.
Yeah.
What I know is Jared Butler can play in the NBA. Like what we saw last night out of Jared Butler, while unspectacular, was rock solid and certainly a big improvement. And I know that the Denver Nuggets didn't have their best players. But my question, Jake, is what do you have to lose by playing these young guys?
Nothing. I don't even think you have nothing to lose. And furthermore, I think you have everything to gain. Because, again, you brought up the Golden State Warriors at the beginning of the conversation, and I think that's a great comparison. Golden State is known. They are notorious for being able to develop their team and their young guys and turn those guys into key contributors that make a big difference for them when it matters most late in the year. And so you look at what they're doing with the Kumingas and with the Wisemans and all these guys that they've brought in. Hell, you even look at what they did with Steph when he first came into the league. I mean, this is a guy, obviously out of Davidson, who people were saying was going to be a nobody. The scouting report said the guy was undersized and not an NBA body. And now you're talking about the guy being the best shooter ever. So I'm just telling you that there's opportunity here. There's opportunity to turn Elijah Hughes into an elite three-point shooter by NBA standards. There's opportunity to turn Jared Butler into somebody who can really contribute on a 15 to 20 minute a night basis when the regular guys are back. And you need him to be that. How long are we going to operate with guys who are at the later stages of their career, with all due respect to the Joe Ingles and the Bogies of the world, how long are you going to operate like that? How long are you going to ask, the old car to continue to take you down the road, man? Like, you've got to develop these young guys so that, especially next season, you can ride them. You can say, okay, hey, we're winning by 20 right now, and we're heading into the fourth. Let's bring the young guys in. Let's get them more minutes. Like, you have to do that.
Well, and I more look at it as you want to develop these young guys now so that they can become the reason that you win a championship. Because you already have a guy in Donovan Mitchell that you can build this franchise around. What you don't have is athletic wings who can contribute on both ends of the floor because you're not developing young guys. And the best example of a lack of development on this team right now is Rudy Gobert's offensive game. I look at the one hole in this lineup as it's currently constructed. I think the biggest problem for the Jazz is Rudy Gobert is oftentimes not effective offensively. Now, you're older. I think you are watching the beginning of the end for Boyan Bogdanovic. Certainly, I think that's in a Jazz uniform. But in his career, I think you're now seeing his best days are behind him. Boyan Bogdanovic cannot play fast basketball. But it's guys like Royce O'Neal who are finding ways to contribute. Royce O'Neal is making a higher percentage of his three-point shots this year. There's value in that for this Jazz team. But what I'm telling you is Royce O'Neal should be gone, and you should be playing guys like Eric Paschall in that spot. You should be playing guys like Trent Forrest in that spot. You should be playing all of these other guys. Instead of Hassan Whiteside, give me more Udoka Azubuike. Show me that you belong in the NBA, Doak, and let's see if we can earn you more minutes. Right? That's what this team needs because they're stuck in the mud right now. And again, I bring up a Jonathan Kuminga. I bring up a James Wiseman. The Golden State Warriors are arguably the best team in the Western Conference, and those guys before the Wiseman injury, he was getting significant run. Jonathan Kuminga is getting measured exposure in the NBA right now, and it's making the Golden State Warriors a better team. You can look at Dusomu in Chicago. You can look across this league, LaMelo Ball. You've got to play your young guys because what's the best way to grow them? Let them make mistakes, give them significant minutes, and let them learn by falling down because they will get back up. And Jared Butler's a guy that played at a very high level at Baylor, won a national championship, but the NBA is a different level, and he needs to experience that pain. But, man, I'm telling you, you can see the step through that he had last night, the assists he had last night. He's got to learn to shoot the three at the NBA level.
Yeah.
And it's surprising he's struggling with that, especially last night. But that's going to come around. The other stuff, the intangibles are there. The mistakes on defense, we saw some switching issues last night. Those are young guy mistakes. You only learn to do that well by making those mistakes. So I see no downside by them going all in on their young guys.
100%. And again, I think there's tremendous upside to it. It's not just, hey, if we do this, there's no risk to it. But also, hey, if we do this, there is big benefits and big upside potential to getting these guys more minutes and getting them more comfortable. I mean, imagine a situation where as a Jazz fan, you could comfortably say, okay, next season, let's say that Mike Conley suffers the usual Mike Conley injury. Just as an example, let's say that he got hurt and had to miss time. How awesome would it be to simply say, okay, Jared Butler or maybe a Trent Forrest can come right off the bench into that starting role and we won't miss a beat. That would be great. But to do that, you got to get these guys minutes and you got to develop them.
And I the interesting thing about Jared Butler is I don't know if he's a number one point guard in this league. I honestly don't know. Is he a top 5 guy on a roster? Today he's not.
Yeah.
Is his upside top 5 on a roster?
Yeah, I mean, I
don't know.
I think he has that in him. I think in today's game, you don't just have to be physically gifted to be a number one anymore. I mean, you can be, if you look around the league, there are plenty of point guards who are not, the most physically gifted with leaping ability and, length and all that, who are playing a ton of minutes and who start for their teams. And I think that I think Jared Butler is plenty athletic. I think the game right now for him is moving incredibly quickly. And that's ultimately what happens when you play these guys. And this is what I think a lot of people don't quite understand about the first-person experience when you play sports. The more you play and the more comfortable you get when your mind can identify situations, the game slows down for you. So you can start to understand, okay, I know Bogey's over here and Royce is
Right.
over here and Rudy's right in the middle. And so I know what I want to do here. And that's what you see guys like Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell and, the Chris Pauls and all the best point guards in the league doing. They're reading the floor and directing traffic and creating opportunities. Jared Butler's not there yet, but I believe that he can get there. Now, whether that's with the Jazz or whether they end up trading him or whatever, I don't know. But either way, the point is playing these guys more minutes right now with where you're currently positioned has no downsides. Because even if you played these guys, developed them just to trade them for draft capital, that's still a win.
Yeah, I don't know. Where are you at on Trent Forrest? I mean, I like what I'm seeing. He seems a little more comfortable with the corner three. I don't think he is. I don't think his absolute top side is top 5 on a roster. I think if he, is he as talented? Who's a secondary player? Is he as talented as a Lou Dort, who we saw take over a game last night from 3 and win it in overtime? Probably not.
No, I think Lou Dort's probably more talented.
Is he? But is Trent Forrest a top 10 guy on a roster?
Can any of these guys, all jokes aside, can any of these guys get to where an Alex Caruso type guy's gotten to? Because Alex Caruso is a secondary player for sure, but he is a big time contributor.
He's invaluable to the team that he's on. I think Trent Forrest has the athletic ability to do that. I don't know that he has the offensive polish. I don't know that Trent Forrest has that savvy it factor.
But isn't that the exact conversation we're having, though? Can the Jazz create that in him? And I think that's what you have to look at with these players, like the Forrest and the Elijah Hughes and the Jared Butlers and all these
Sadly,
younger guys.
I'm going to say I don't believe that this Jazz team, and as an organization, as an organization, I don't know that they are a developer. I don't know that this team right now today or this organization, and we haven't seen it under Danny Ainge. I mean, but in the last 5 years, have they really taken an unpolished stone and turned him into a gem? And I would tell you they have not. I think, and maybe I'm being kind of a jerk about it, but I think Donovan Mitchell has spent his own cash to turn himself into a gem.
Agreed.
And I probably believe too much in Donovan Mitchell. I got it handed to me by some of the comments on YouTube yesterday. Throughout the day, just talking to different people on YouTube, I think more Jazz fans would rather keep Rudy Gobert than Donovan Mitchell. But I look at Donovan Mitchell, I see Donovan Mitchell spending millions of dollars to become an NBA superstar.
I just think Don he just needs to mature. And
that takes time.
It takes time. It's a tough road. But you have to be, and I hate saying this because it's such an asshole thing to say. You just have to be better, dude. Like you need to mature in the people ops department, as I say, how you handle your teammates, like how you lead the team. You got to mature in that area. But I also think on the floor, and again, I'm glad you brought it up because this is a developmental piece that I think, you're not going to get this from Brickley, in my opinion. I think Brickley is going to teach you individual skills to improve your game in a one-on-one setting. That's what I think Chris Brickley really helps guys with. But I think the concept of, hey, I'm the best player on the floor. I need to draw that double team. I need to make the defense gravitate towards my side of the floor so I can create other opportunities for my teammates. Donovan Mitchell doesn't do that right now. And he needs to start doing that for this team to take that next step. So, for the people who say, well, I'd rather have Rudy than Don, well, sure, sure, I guess you can go with that. But I'm telling you from an NBA championship perspective, I would much rather have Donovan Mitchell than Rudy Gobert, 100%.
I don't even think it's a conversation. I think it's a no-brainer.
I think this season hasn't done great things for Donovan Mitchell's image in the fan base. I have to be honest. I think a lot of people think that Don is selfish. I think a lot of people, rumors be true or not, a lot of people think that he's asking out, which is untrue. We have good sourcing that says it's not true that he asked for a trade. I just think that, again, I'll keep saying it. This team desperately needs Donovan Mitchell to come back and produce. That's what the team needs right now. And I don't know when that's going to happen.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I mean, this concussion thing with Donovan, he has not been able to shake this concussion that he picked up against the Lakers 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks.
It is, in the NBA, it's very rare. I mean, you see some guys, Usually concussions in the NBA happen when you slam your head on the floor, or sometimes you'll fall backwards and hit your head on a knee. Usually in the NBA, you get a concussion from hitting the back of your head, either on the floor, on a knee, whatever.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell took a swing through elbow from Russell Westbrook in LA, and he's not been able to shake that.
And it was kind of on the side of his head almost with the way it happened.
It's a little scary to see what he's going through. It's not career threatening, but by the way, I actually think this has worked out really well. Him missing this time has forced the Jazz to play other guys. And I think, Quin Snyder is I'll give him a lot of credit for this. And I know a lot of people are saying Alex Jensen, should be the coach. And do you really think that Quin Snyder isn't still coaching this team? I mean, do you honestly think that they don't have a game plan going into last night where he and Alex Jensen are on a Zoom call and they're talking about X's and O's and rotations? And if you really think that Quin Snyder has nothing to do with player minutes and rotations, you're crazy. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know how that would be possible.
It's not.
I mean, Quin Snyder is still the guy pulling the strings on this team. Now, at the 8-minute mark of the third quarter, are they texting? No, they're probably not. I mean, that's Alex Jensen making decisions on guys, and okay, I'm down with that. But if you think that they're not talking about, hey, how much are we playing Jared tonight? How much are we playing this guy or that guy? Or
what angles do we want to work on the floor? What are we trying? What kind of positions are we trying to put these guys in? Like, there's a clear game plan to work on things, And either way, the Alex Jensen stuff. Everyone's talking about how oh well, that was a great rotation last night, and I love how flexible he is with all the players. And it's like, dude, yeah, Alex Jensen did a good job. And he's done a nice job, and he'll continue to do a nice job. It's not an Alex Jensen problem. I think you just have to understand that just because Quin is not in person doesn't mean that he's not, making decisions. Yeah. It's just a foolish thought.
And by the way, the Jazz aren't making a coaching change in season.
Yeah.
That just there's no justification for that. All right, let's get your comments. Snuka.
What's up, Snuka?
Here we go. That's right, Snuka. C. Sheever says Alex Jensen for head coach. Fire Quin Snyder now, please. Yeah. There you go. Cody Strickland says, hashtag I want the PS5. Hashtag I want more. I want more.
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to find it here. It's
I want more.
Yeah, sorry. That's an obscure drop that I don't remember where it is.
Cody says, morning, guys. We really needed the game, LOL. And I've seen huge athleticism that really won this game from our young guys. Yeah, totally agree. Giggity, what's up? Good to see you, bud. Eric and Raleigh says, good morning, Monties. And Steph had glass ankles. Steph did have glass ankles.
But they worked through that.
And he's worked with Under Armour to work through that. Cody Strickland says Hassan Whiteside's a bum. Dwayne Boone says, good morning. A Jazz win is lovely. Will you be my Valentine? Nah, I'm fine.
He's a bum.
Rudy Sanchez says, Butler reminds me of Alec Burks a little bit. Well, that's interesting. I mean, Alec Burks has been a good three-point shooter pretty much his whole career.
Yeah.
I think Jared Butler will get there. I think the measurables on Jared Butler are all there. I think he'll be fine. JP Steve Shanahan says, sup. You guys probably already know that Mitchell's concussion symptoms continue to linger, according to reports. They do. Dwayne Bone says, I'll be making popcorn when the Nets come to town tomorrow night. What is going on? We're going to do our NBA power rankings here in a moment. James Harden's a real concern for Brooklyn. I mean, he ain't that dude anymore. And I don't know if it's that he's not the alpha male. I know you think that. I mean, you think that's really what this is?
Yeah, I mean, I think that James Harden thrives in an environment when he's the guy. And I don't think that I don't mean that from the attitude of like he's selfish. I just think that James Harden really thrives in an environment where it's him and everybody else. And he can, like I was saying before, he can kind of control and make decisions and everything goes through him. I think what James Harden is really struggling with right now, and he said as much, you really would. You would, huh? You would.
I would.
Why would you do that?
Sorry if you're offended by that.
Yeah, I am offended by that.
I'm sorry. Were you talking?
I'm going to say this again.
I was just drinking my drink, man.
You're casual.
Yeah.
By the way, we got the full T-shirt design yesterday. The T-shirts are in production right now.
It's fire. It's fire.
Everybody's been asking, where's the You're a Casual shirt? It's coming.
Come on, man.
Once we get back from LA, we'll roll those out. Pre-orders will begin next Monday.
I want more.
We'll start taking pre-orders on the casual shirts next Monday. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
By the way, I think Brooklyn finally figures that Kevin Durant's the best player in the world right now. I think, and you see his value to Brooklyn when he's not there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kyrie's fine. I think it's Kevin Durant 1, Kyrie 2, James Harden 3.
And I think James knows that. And I think James wants to. James Harden has not just all of a sudden forgot how to score basketball. Let's be very clear about that. James Harden needs a particular environment to thrive, like a plant. He needs sunlight, water. He needs particular things to.
Is that a plant like some weed?
Yeah, dude, exactly. I mean, he needs certain particular attributes within the team for him to do well. But you see, when those are present, he can put up 50, no problem, So, I don't know. Is that Philly? Sure. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
Maybe.
Is that Washington and a Bradley Beal trade? I don't know. But he's going to get moved.
Maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself. Anyway, the point is.
Jesus.
That's one of the greatest drops ever. Where is it? No, the drop machine apparently.
Maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly right. Thank you. Do you know where that's from?
The Departed.
The Departed. Yeah, you had to think about it, didn't you? Anyway, he's a Southie. The point is.
He's a Southie.
The point is.
What a loser!
James Harden remains a loser. That's exactly right.
Right. Yeah.
James Harden, I doubt he ever wins a championship. I really do.
He's got
because
time.
if James Harden goes to Philly, he won't be the alpha male. He won't.
Yeah. I mean, it's Joel's team, but I think Philly. The thing with Philly is I think it still has untapped potential to it. I think we don't know what Joel Embiid's capable of when he's actually got someone who can contribute next to him.
I'm going to institute a policy where I'm not going to read Insta DMs during the show. Seriously. Barry says, finally you've come around on Quin Snyder. What do you mean, Barry? And he also says The Departed's a great film, not a movie. Thank you.
Thank you,
Barry.
Appreciate that.
There are some movies that are films, not movies.
Yeah, like The Fifth Element.
That's a shit show. That's not a movie. It's a great movie. It's not a film, though. Greg Hawkins says, sup, y'all? What's up, Greg?
What's up,
Good to see
Greg?
you. Tyler Hopkins says, I don't think we'll see Donovan Mitchell until after the All-Star break. Yeah, why would you? I wouldn't rush him back.
That's the thing. Like, I don't know. Like, I would love to know. I'd love to get an answer on what the mindset of the team is right now. What are they trying or not trying to do?
My guy C. Shevers is all in on firing Quin Snyder. He said when Snyder comes back, it's back to the usual bullshit.
I'll drop that mother.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Eric and Raleigh says Steph 1, KD 2, Giannis 3. Stop. There ain't nobody taking Steph Curry over Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
And Eric, I love you, dude, but it's way too early to be dropping acid. Like, seriously, you're hallucinating.
That's enough of that crap.
Jeremy Bolton, good morning to you. Giggity says cracking a cold one in the middle of Jake's take. Haha, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Cold chillin'. John Jackson, JJ, what's up? Good to see you, buddy. He says giving the young players more time is showing their value when trade talks come up. I would agree.
Yep.
Jeremy Bolton says need a UPS update. It's coming.
Let's go.
Michael Burton says Patty Mills better than Harden. He's number 3. LOL. The truth. Michael Burton also says in AFL here in Australia, concussions can last ages, especially a physical sport. The positive is some of the young players get minutes to improve at the highest level. Yeah, they do. And this is why I say, like, speaking of Australia, this is why I say, I hope they trade Joe Ingles. An NBA guy that I know pretty well yesterday said that there's demand for Joe Ingles' contract around the NBA because he was going to get bought out anyway. So there's demand for that because it saves you a salary slot. If you can trade Joe Ingles, trade Joe Ingles. Do it,
dude.
I would.
Please.
But if you don't trade him, I think you got to have him around the team. When his knee is in a position where he can be back on road trips, I would have him on the road with the team.
He was in the locker room last night.
Yeah, I would have him on the road with the
Yeah.
team. I mean, I think he's really important that way.
Agreed.
So I just think that's important. Brylark says, thanks, Monty. If those DMing mother truckers want to say something, they can enter the YouTube chat. That's what I'm saying. You're watching the show already. You're watching the show already. Why, Barry, will you not get in on YouTube?
I'm not sure that Barry wants to throw hands in the comment section.
Well, he's told me before, if I remember right, and this is not, for my Phoenix listener, this is not Barry the New York Giant fan who lost his mind over Donald Trump.
Isn't Barry the New York Giant fan formerly Barry the New York Jew as well?
He is, yes. Barry came to us at the shitty radio station in Phoenix as Barry the New York Jew.
Yeah.
Then he changed his name to, he changed his name a bunch of times, but he ended up on Barry the New York Giants fan.
Right.
And then Saquon Barkley hurt himself, so there were other iterations.
Yeah, we're focused on the Jets today.
Yeah, but my point is, Barry the New York Jet fan. Barry lost his mind over COVID, and if I remember right, Barry's son had gone through a really, I joke as I try to say COVID, a really bad coronavirus bout. Like he was in the hospital.
Right.
And then the Trump stuff, and Barry just lost his mind one day and told
Mr.
us,
fucking vaccination genius, scientific expert, you fucking asshole.
Barry. So Barry lost his mind. And then recently there's been another Barry who's not the same Barry, but who tends to, he has told me in the past he does not have a YouTube account. He simply watches it by going to YouTube and not signing in, but he watches it.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I don't even understand, because obviously I have a YouTube account and I watch YouTube not really often, but enough. I thought you had to have an account to watch a video, but if you don't,
You
cool.
don't, no.
By the way, if you're here, please give us a thumbs up. That'd be great. Cody Strickland says, Coach Joe.
No.
Okay. It's ironic that Harden wanted to play in Brooklyn and now he's on his way out, apparently. Shanahan says, yeah, it's ironic now he wants to go play in Philly.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning of it for James was the whole part-time player status with Kyrie. That really rubbed James the wrong way.
Yeah, they had a falling out. There was a chemistry thing in Brooklyn, from what everybody says. And the Kyrie Irving not getting vaccinated thing, Kevin Durant was not the quickest guy to get vaccinated either.
Mm-hmm.
But Kevin Durant, when he got vaccinated, said the same thing LeBron said. I'm doing this for my legacy and my team.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyrie Irving is viewed as selfish because he won't get vaccinated.
The coronavirus.
That's not by me. That's by others. You know what? Frankly, if you don't want to get vaccinated, cool.
Everybody gets a test.
But when you're committed to, essentially 11 other guys, 14 other guys, and you refuse to comply, I think that is selfish.
It vexes me.
So that's just me. Brylark says, yes, I miss Driftwood. Oh, Driftwood.
Driftwood. What a legend, dude.
Giggity says Barry's a casual.
Well, hey.
I mean,
You're casual.
I mean, Barry, I don't disagree with that. Brylark says, Cody, Jeremy, who was our resident Trumper that doesn't watch anymore? I can't remember his name. Driftwood. Yeah. Absolutely right. Michael Burton says Ingles' injury was massive loss. Agree. If he's on the roster, I would keep him there for the locker room presence. He's definitely one of the glue guys in the team. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, 100%.
I do. What happened to the Army Ranger who had COVID 3 times? Eric and Raleigh wants to know. The Stever. I don't know.
I don't know where Buddy is.
I don't know. But the last time we heard from Stever was less than a year ago, because it was here. It was while we were in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
But he was, so for those of you who are newer to the show, Stever was a special ops guy in the military that you had like all this covert stuff. Like he when we were on the shitty radio station in Phoenix, he sent us a picture of our house from a helicopter. He flew over our house and sent us a picture. And it was actually our house. And then, like, we just kept in touch with him. We formed a relationship with him. Didn't he send us pizza or something one day?
One day, yeah.
Like he sent us.
He's the
deep
guy.
dish
Listen, you're talking about a guy who has like extremely high access. Like you're talking about somebody who
had Vanish mode before Vanish mode was a thing.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
I mean, the guy just is a step ahead.
And but he would always tell us, "Hey, I'm going." Like he's a ghost. He's a guy that goes out and does covert stuff for the military, essentially. And he would tell us, "Hey, you're not going to hear from me for a while," or "Hey, I'm doing this." And he was telling us that one of the things he would update us on is when he got coronavirus. And he had it the second time Stever got it was terrible.
The coronavirus.
Like, he was saying, if I remember right, it almost killed him.
They have the sniffles.
But about a year ago, the last thing I remember him saying is, "Hey, I'm going out. I'm going to be gone a while."
Yeah.
And I have not heard from him since. And he was a
avid listener.
If
Him and
not
his
daily,
people.
yeah. And like his guys would, like their whole, because they were at the base in Phoenix, so they were based out of Phoenix, at the airport, and so he listened all the time. And it's really, I hope he's okay. I really hope he's okay, because we don't get updates. I mean, like, the guy's a ghost. So I hope he's okay. I don't know what happened to him. And I mean, our military guys, God bless you. I just have so much respect for the sacrifice that it is for our fighting men and women, their families, their friends, their relationships. I mean, their lives are forever changed. And a guy like that, I hope they're okay, man. Some of the things he would tell us about the things that he saw. Like, you know how you know when a guy says, "Hey, this is who I am," and like, he's legit. You just know the Stever was legit.
Yeah.
He was absolutely one of a kind. Cody says, "Of course you would friend him. You don't want him to lay the smackdown on your ass." It's seriously, it scared me when he sent me a picture of my house. Like, it freaked me out for a minute. It freaked me out for a minute. Like, and it was legit an overhead picture of our house. And where we lived on South Mountain in Phoenix. So there were always flyovers. There were always helicopters, jets. Like, there was always that stuff happening.
Right.
So you never paid attention to it. And then you're on the radio one day and he sent you an overhead shot of your house. And it wasn't like a satellite picture because we had just had our backyard renovated. And the picture of the backyard, I remember, had the paver. We had a bunch of pavers put in without turf, and then we had the turf added. It was with I think it was pavers without turf. So it was legit. That day he flew over the house.
It was a cell phone picture.
Yeah, like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It freaked me out a little bit.
It was a cell phone picture out of a helicopter. Dude knows where you live.
Seriously, like, whoa. But hey, the guy was cool. And then I'm pretty sure he sent Giordano's to the studio one day.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm pretty sure. So it is what it is. Giggity says, Stever got to be kicking it indoors, killing terrorists. I hope he's okay. I really do. I do. I saw that the Biden administration released that they hit one of the top Islamic terrorist figures in Syria. I guess they dropped a bomb on him through drones.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, we're on to Cincinnati, man. Jeremy Bolton says, "Hey, Brylark, I've never seen anyone get destroyed in a chat as much as Driftwood did." No.
Bro.
Dude, Driftwood took some. During the election, like, Driftwood. And I actually enjoyed those conversations. I like talking about serious stuff, but Driftwood took some heat in this chat. My God.
Dude. Yeah,
and
bro.
probably the best part about this show is the interaction we have with you guys. Our listeners, our viewers, like, we really enjoy that. Like, that's why we say follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
So Barry, go ahead. Jump head first in the comment section. Go ahead.
Probably not. Giggity says warheads on foreheads. Exactly right. Greg Hawkins says smackdown on your mama's ass. Chris Karn says, if I drop some Portillo's on you, am I legit? Yes.
Yeah,
Chris.
dog. Bro,
Chris, actually,
I would love Portillo's, bro.
Yeah, my God.
There's not a Portillo's in Utah, is there?
I don't think so. Is there a Portillo's in L.A.?
Oh, there has to be.
In Anaheim.
Come on.
Isn't there a Portillo's in Anaheim?
Okay, let me pull out Google Maps here.
Maybe when we're in L.A. next week we do that. I don't know.
Bro, it's already next week.
Yeah, I know. Tell us your account on Instagram. Oh, I say every day, The Monty Show. Everything for me is The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show. Jake is SLC Supercars. Portillo's is amazing. Yes, it is.
Yes, there
Greg
absolutely
Hawkins.
is a Portillo's right off the 5 and the 91.
Yeah, that's what I thought in Orange
We're
County.
doing it. We're doing it.
Yeah, and it's way better than Pink's. I remember that argument. All right, NBA Power Rankings, because we got some other good stuff to get to today. The absolute positive worst team in the NBA right now is I think it's the Pistons. The Pistons are terrible. And they're going to trade Jeremy Grant. I have to believe they're going to trade Jeremy Grant.
Oh, it's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, they are a bad team, but man, Cade Cunningham's been a nice story.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
guy's a stud.
And he's got a great fro. He's got awesome hair. Detroit's bad. I mean, let's be honest. It's Detroit, OKC, and Houston. But I think Houston is so athletic.
Yeah.
And their young guys are really good. You're watching their young guys. Kenyon Martin Jr.,
Stud.
I'm telling you, the kid's coming.
Stud.
Like you look at Christian Wood. If they unload John Wall, I think the sky's the limit for them.
And I think they will.
They
will.
should do the Russell Westbrook buyout trade from the Lakers and send John Wall.
Yeah.
Because I think that's absolutely him and Eric Gordon have huge value around the league. Eric Gordon, I think, is the number 1 3-point percentage shooter in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
I would trade him and John Wall and go. You need to sell out on Christian Wood. Build everything you have around him, and I think, I really like Christian Wood. I know there's people who've talked about trading him. I would not.
No, I think you have a good core there. They just need to play more. You need time.
And then OKC. I mean, I look at what Josh Giddey's giving OKC.
But he can play, dude. I mean, he is under the radar as under the radar gets, but he can play.
Better or worse, the Sacramento Kings or the New Orleans Pelicans?
Oh, the Sacramento Kings are better.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, Zion Williamson obviously hasn't played. He's an incredible bust.
I just think the Pelicans don't have a. I mean, outside of Ingram, you look at this team, and yeah, you've got Zion who's hurt. Obviously,
Jackson Hayes.
I don't like Jackson Hayes off the court, issues, if you will.
What if they make that CJ McCollum trade?
Then I think you've got something because you can put. You're not a championship contender at that point, but I definitely think you're a playoff team, a legit, no doubt about a playoff team.
I think Brandon Ingram's their best player. They're 2-20 without him. I mean,
And I think too, CJ McCollum. It would be fun to see him being the number 1 on a team, just to see what that would do for him. He's been Dame's running mate forever.
So I'm going to say Detroit's the worst.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that Houston's the second worst.
Yeah.
OKC, New Orleans, and then better or worse, the Sacramento Kings or the Orlando Magic. I watched the Orlando Magic game the other night with the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're talented as talented gets. They're just not a smart basketball team.
No, they make boneheaded plays pretty consistently.
So I'm going to say they're the 5th worst team. I'll put the Kings. I'll put the Kings outside of the bottom 5.
Yeah.
And then, there's the top 5, and I have no idea. I mean, I think in the NBA right now, there's no doubt 1-2 is Phoenix, and I think the Phoenix Suns are the best team in the NBA. I think Devin Booker is, I think
we know what you think about Book. We know.
Yeah, I mean, and imagine I will punch you in the face.